All right, hi grade 9s and grade 10s. We're going to do another little theory video. We'll see if these are working. Again, let me know how it's going. This is a different way to do things this year, so I appreciate the feedback. So we're going to be doing semitones and whole tones, but before we do that, let's review our note names, because that's the basis of all of this, knowing our note names. So treble clef, and most of you play in the treble clef, and you'll remember that our lines are every good boy deserves fudge. So E, G, B, and D. And those are our lines. And we always start at the bottom. Oh, my pen's not working. We always start at the bottom. E, there we go. G, B, D, and F. And then our spaces, we don't have a rhyme for because they spell face. F, A, C, and E. Now, of course, some of you know the trick is, even if you only actually ever memorize one, let's say you only memorize that one, you know that that is an F. You can figure everything else out because every line in every space gets a letter. So if I go up from F to this line, it's a G. Okay? And then A, then B, then C, then D, then E, then F. And then we can do our ledger lines, G, then A, then B, so on and so forth. Okay? So that's the beauty of that note names for treble clef. Let's do our bass clef before we get going. So our bass clef lines, great big dogs fight animals. Some people prefer the good boys deserve fudge always, but I always get the two fudge ones mixed up, so we go with something different. So again, we always start at the bottom. So we have G, B, D, F, A for our lines. And then our spaces, all cows eat grass or all cars eat gas, whatever works for you. A, C, E, and G. And same thing, if we only ever memorize one, we can kind of figure out the others based off of that one. Again, we just follow the alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, so on and so forth. So again, just knowing the alphabet and even just memorizing one line or one space, you can actually access everything else. All right, let's move on. All right, a little bit more review and things you may have tripped over in your fingering chart are sharps, naturals, and flats. The sharps, as some of you who are acutely aware, look like those hashtag things. They're not a hashtag. A natural we haven't dealt with. Usually a natural just means there's nothing on the note, no sharp or flat, and occasionally we'll see a sign for it. It looks kind of like an L paired with a 7, if you think of it that way. And then a flat, which looks like a little baby B. Okay, so those are our signs. What does a sharp do? Well, a sharp takes a note and raises it. Okay, what does a natural do? It kind of resets. And then what does a flat do? A flat lowers. Okay, so I always think of it, this is our basement, first floor, second floor. If we're on an elevator and I start on floor 1 and I want to get to the lower floor, I go down 1. I go down a flat. If I want to go up, I go up a sharp. If I'm on a sharp and I need to go down 2 floors, natural then flat. Sort of makes sense? We're going to play around with them, so if you're going, I'm not sure what we're doing with this, you're going to find out in a second because we're going to use them in a sec. All right. Before we do that, let's actually just use the sharp, the flat, the natural to name these notes. So give this a try. All right, well, let's try with our treble clef. Now, without that sharp on it, what would we name that note? Yeah, without the sharp, it's just an F. With the sharp on, we actually just call it, wait for it, F sharp. Okay. The next one, give it a try, see if you do it. Remember, our spaces in the treble clef spell face, so F, A, C. And because that C has neither a sharp nor a flat on it, it's C natural. But saying a lot of naturals are kind of redundant, so we just say C. The natural is implied. All right, the next one. If you went back one letter from C, what's the letter? There you go, B. And that B has something on it. It has a flat, so we call it B flat. The next one, bottom line, treble clef, is an E. Now, it does have something on it. Again, it's not a sharp. We've seen that. It looks like a hashtag. It's not a flat. We've seen that. That looks like an L and a 7. That's the natural. So that's E natural. And you can say E natural. You could put that if you wanted, but it's again, a little bit redundant. Then we have this last one, middle C, and that C has something on it, so it is C sharp. Good. Now we flip down to the bass clef, same problem. Bottom space, if we remember our rhyme, all cows eat grass, so that's an A. And that A has something on it, looks like a hashtaggy, so there we go, A sharp. And same thing, we know our spaces, so all cows eat. Oh, that's an E. It has nothing on it, so therefore it is E natural. If we go one letter back from E, we don't even have to do the lines for the bass clef for this one. If we go one letter back from E, we get D. And that D has something on it. It's a flat. All right, and here we go. Bottom line is a G. Again, we have the natural sign, so we can put that in. But again, it's kind of a given. And our last one, ooh, going below the bass clef into Uberlotus. That is an E. Okay, it's not a middle C. Don't get it confused with treble clef. Bass clef is different. And that E has something on it. It is a sharp. All right, if you weren't sure about that, feel free to go over it on your own or come and see me for some extra help. If you didn't really understand your lines and spaces, back to that's a good thing to review because that's the basis of all of this. All right, we're moving on then. All right, so semitones. Believe it or not, you already have dealt with semitones. When we started to move notes with sharps and flats, we're actually moving notes by a semitone. So flutes, for example, sometimes you're playing an E and sometimes you're playing an E flat. Depends on the piece. Altos, you already know this. Sometimes you have a C sharp, sometimes you don't. So we've started to play and add in those different accidentals. But what is a semitone? Well, take the two words apart. Okay, we've got semi and tone. Well, tone is just our notes. Okay, semi means half step. So it just means a half step between the two notes. Okay, so half step, and it's the smallest distance between two notes. And you can actually right now take your method book out and go to your fingering chart at the back. And if you look at your fingering chart, they kind of divide it up in boxes. Some things have same fingerings, same notes, same fingerings, or different notes, same fingerings. But that box means one note. If you go from box to box, that would be a semitone. If you're not sure, again, bring me your fingering chart and I can point that out to you. So to make a semitone, that's where we start to need our sharps and our flats to be able to move up and down that half step. So let's try a couple together. So first things first, you have this F. Again, we're bottom, and we like to be able to name our note, bottom space in the treble clef. So let's name it F. Okay, good information to have. How can I go up a half step from an F? Now, if you don't read that particular F in your fingerings, I know flutes, that's awfully low for you, you can still find any F and figure out a half step. And this arrow just means I want a half step up without having to write up, because apparently up's long. So a half step up. How could we do a half step up? The other thing to remember, go back to your order of accidentals. What's our highest step? Sharp, then natural, then flat on the bottom. So if this is already F natural, we're already here on the elevator. We want to go up one floor. We want to go up a semitone. What do I need to put? Exactly, a sharp. So I write in the sharp, and I write in an F. And that's a semitone. That's all there is to it. All right, let's try another one. So we have this note here. Well, which one's this? It is a B. That B has something on it, though. It has a flat. So if I want to go a semitone up from B flat, what do? We'll go back to our elevator buttons. So here's the flat. If I want to go up one floor, what am I going to? That's right, a natural. And so same thing. I can draw in the natural sign, and I draw in the note. So F to F sharp is a semitone, B flat to B is a semitone. The other thing you'll notice too with writing in the accidentals, try and make sure that they hit on the line or the space that the note is on. Don't put your like natural way up here and then put your note down here. That's wrong. Okay, we want to always put it on the same line and space as the note. All right, let's finish it off. Let's do the last few. All right, so top space, F, A, C, it's a D. Great. Oh, taking a look at our direction, we want down. So I need a semitone down from E. It's E natural, semitone down. Go down a floor. It's an E flat. Okay, next one, F, A, C. C with nothing on it, C natural. So we're going to start here again, and we want a semitone down. Again, how do we go down from a natural? We do a flat. Okay, and finally we have our last note, and it's below the treble clef. So if our last line is an E, what's one back from E in your musical alphabet? D. And we have a D natural, and we want to go up a semitone. So we're on natural, we want to go up a semitone. So we put on a sharp. Easy peasy. All right, so now let's deal with whole tones. So if semitones are half a step, a whole tone is 2 semis. 2 halves make a whole. That's all there is to it. I know some of you are going, but that's fractions, and this isn't math class, but there is a little bit of math in music theory. So a whole tone is just a combination of 2 semis. So again, we're still going to have some pertinent information. We're still going to need kind of our little elevator buttons. I always write these. I know kids laugh at me when I do it, but it's nice to not have to think too hard. Once you've got it down and you can do this in your head, that's awesome. But I say, hey, why try and do it in your head and maybe make a mistake when you can write it and have it right in front of you? All right, so we're in the bass clef. The other thing, always check your clef before you do any theory. All right, so our bottom note is A. Remember, we're in the bass clef. All cows eat grass. So that's an A. Good. All right, so we want a whole tone up from A. Now again, if you don't play it in the bass clef, which most of you don't, you can find any A in your method book and do a whole tone over. So go 2 boxes, because you need 2 semitones to make a whole tone. Go 2 boxes over, and that'll get you the note. So if you go 2 boxes over from A, going up, musical alphabet, you get B. That's it. Easy peasy. And you'll find too, for the most part, a natural will go to another natural, sharp will go to a sharp, or a flat will go to a flat when you're doing a whole tone. Okay. Our next one. So we have great big dogs. Oh, and that D has something on it. Yep, D flat. All right, D flat. We want to go a whole tone up. So same thing, even if you don't play in the bass clef, find a D flat in your method book, and then go up 2 semitones to get you a whole tone. And what do you get? Good. E flat. All right, let's keep going. Again, with our spaces, all cows eat grass. So that's a G. It's a G natural. We want to go down a whole tone. Okay, so find a G in your method book. Go down 2 half steps. Make sure you're going the right direction. Go down. So what's 2 half steps back? Is F. Good. All right. All cows eat. We have an E. It is a natural. We want to go down 2 semitones from it. That gets us a D. And last but not least, we're below the bass clef. Our last line of the bass clef is a G, so this makes it a, go back 1 letter, F, and whole tone up from F is G. There you go. Again, if you didn't quite get semitones and whole tones, do come and talk to me during MSIP sometime. I love going over theory with people, and sometimes you just need someone pointing it out one more time to get it going. All right. So Do use your method book to help figure this out. There is a worksheet to go through. Do the worksheets, kind of like doing your homework for the class, because on Theory Thursday you will have an assignment that's based off that worksheet. So it's to your advantage to do it. All right. Again, if you have any trouble, come and see me.